Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Surge. We are here to talk about the secrets revealed and how Supered can replace your project management system. I have Caleb Phillips here and Matt, and they're going to take it away.
Hey, everyone. How's it going?
Yeah, what up, everybody? Steve and I were talking in the background over there, and I was arguing. We were talking about. He was like, "You need to share this thing, and this thing has happened." I'm like, "Sorry, not that important yet, Steve."
Yeah.
I'll talk about it again, but I don't think it's true value yet. What up, everybody? Today, I'm going to be clear. This is a dream of mine, not in the way you may think. Today we're going to talk about. And we got a lot of people showing up. When we talk about building Super from the beginning, it is how do we recreate client experiences at scale? It's always been the dream. And Caleb Phillips have gone through the full journey, using it for a year. Honestly, in some ways, almost gave up. And then was like, Matt's not crazy, and has built an entire system on how to use Super and HubSpot to deliver client management. And I think the nomenclature project management is a little too intense because I don't even think you necessarily need the full scale of the project management. What you really need is to recreate experiences. Okay, so before we get into that, and that's what we're going to today, and there's going to be a lot of knowledge laid down and the ability to action that knowledge and the ability to action that knowledge really quickly by the end of this. Before we get in, we'll do a little housekeeping as we go through. Okay, so notes. I'm going to just go through this. Okay, so some product stuff. We've talked about this in the past, things that have happened that are awesome. And we will continue to build this. Slack is awesome. It now works. You can connect your clients' accounts or your accounts with your Supered instance and be able to directly search for and find documentation in Slack. Number 2, we have talked about Salesforce is done. Number 3, I talked about this before. This is what Steve was arguing me about. Is there is something, and I'll show you it so we're all clear about it. So you notice we have list views now, which is good. Inside of this, I could take any of these, and it's a bit we have way too many of them here, but I could take any of these and say, hey, close deal, pass due on open deal. That's weird. I click it. Inside of that, you're going to start seeing zero boards if you, hey, hint, it's coming. So we'll release stuff that you don't see, but there's, we have analytics. Inside these analytics, it will tell you over time, this is part of it, like the last 3 months, for example, I can say over time, how many records are there and what records and violations. So for individual rules, and we will be aggregating those, and you will be able to put process rules on a zero board, and you'll be able to do report on the change you've made in organizations and operationalize frameworks at the company level, and then we'll have that by user level as well. So guys, this is coming, and you're seeing us build it out. So this already works. It's free. Nothing free in the sense of didn't increase charge of what you're paying. Let's go back to I didn't have.
And just while you're pulling that up, Matt, this is why Supered is central for us. Like the optimizations like that you're making. I mean, when we piece this all together throughout this, those are the things that, I mean, Matt, when we were talking about this originally and that came up, I was like, yes, thank you. Because it ties the picture together. And I think that's what I really like about what you guys have been doing over the last year or so is making that progression forward on the right things, the things that deliver client value.
Yeah. Process rules will be something end users will want to buy like candy. It's the thing everyone's asking for. Okay. So things that are coming, base favorites are coming. So you can actually favorite the bases that you want to see on the side. So there's going to be a base functionality to get that. So a little less clutter and on the per user. And yes, we will be having sections soon where you can actually do these things as well. So that's coming. How we do AP assignments will be fixed. We're doing list view for APs as well to make it much prettier. We're going to actually do list everywhere. This is our big focus. We're going to have a full bulk edit list functionality in Super very soon. You're going to see we will have the ability to manage homepages across all clients that you have. You have to recreate them, so you'll be able to push them and have a default client management space. And we will be making it where you can templatize APs, meaning you can take the action plan that you use and you can give it, which is another way to provide value for clients. Okay, this is stuff all happening. Not to talk about zero boards, which is coming as well. Okay, guys, there's a lot there, but the meat of today is all about Supered as a client delivery system. And so without further ado, the man of the hour, the man with the power, Caleb Phillips. Let me give it back to you. Show us what you got.
Yeah, thanks, Matt. So everyone can see the chat. Just starting it off, I am a communicative person. I prefer live presentations because I can see your faces. I can see if you hate me or love me or like what I'm saying or resonate with it at all. Drop in the comments. I'd love to know just like where you're from and your role at what you do. So would love to just know a little bit more in the chat and kind of get some stuff going here. But while we kind of kick that off, like Matt said, and they've said a couple times, my name is Caleb Phillips. So I'm the CEO and co-founder at Amplified Ops. And we focus on really serving clients like everyone else. We're a service agency, but we also serve agencies. And really, we help people scale through simplification, automation, integration, and delivering repeatable systems. And really accessible systems. And what I mean by that is we've spent the last year and a half really focusing, whether that's HubSpot, Supered internally, or other platforms, and creating something that simplifies the workflow. I try to make my team not look at the problems that we're hearing, but what is the root of them? Because problems are only systemic of the other. And a lot of times it's overcomplication. And so without kind of further ado here, today we're here to talk about upgrading ClickUp, but it's really not just ClickUp. That's an oversimplification, because really what I'm going to show you is how Supered became my client delivery platform. And I'm going to show you how you can streamline your internal processes, add new value for your clients beyond traditional services, and remove the biggest killers that were killing my team's time and really were killing our margins. And I think that a lot of partners resonate with after talking to a lot of other HubSpot and general partners that run service agencies. And so I'm going to say it right out the gate, though. We invested into Supered originally for probably the same reasons as you. And if you just want to drop in the comments, yes or no, were these the two reasons or was there something else? But number one was we wanted to standardize our HubSpot assets, right? How can we have a faster time to delivery with less quality control needed by our team on the end, right? And really higher level, higher caliber people to maintain and manage the project and do the delivery. And we wanted the ability to hand off larger portions of the service work to technical consultants or others, right? While still maintaining the same high standards of quality and delivery and explanation that we've had to date. And that's where it comes into streamlining and improving our client onboarding. And so, that includes training of end users, education of stakeholders, and a path to actually enforcing the processes that we were delivering, but were often ignored, missed, or just like forgotten, right? It was another reason of Super that I really liked out the front was it could take the documents away. Because if you ever even worked at a company, right, there's any company that's above 10 million as an employee, SOPs are nightmares. They're not manageable, all the things that resonated with me. And I experienced it on the service side, not getting people to adopt. So in my head, those were the two biggest areas that Supered could help me immediately. And I could evaluate, investing into it, because that is a huge factor of what was killing our margins. We had to hire more quality people, you want high quality people. Let me be very clear, but it was harder. It was harder to hand things off efficiently. But the truth is, I want to just disclaim here that, I think Matt said it. I don't work for Supered. I'm a partner. I'm a partner who spent the last year dedicating my time and my team's priorities to finding and solving the roots of these, the problems, right? And they were often identified in post-delivery. And so projects not running smoothly internally was a constant feedback loop. Overages on final hours versus what we kind of estimated, even if we weren't charging hourly, just to check where we were at. From a perspective internally as well as externally, we had a lack of adoption leading to additional training time, whether that was the internal team not adopting where we were with the client fast enough and getting, clocked in there and running and gunning at the same level of delivery. And so a lack of trust there, or repetitive meetings to get that into the brains, or really externally was the bigger issue with added training time, people not going through what we gave them. And overall, I don't know if anyone else relates to this, but oftentimes, I'm a high performer. I try to hire high performers, someone who's going to not accept status quo, right? And when you're talking with a client and they mention something that you can do quickly, right? And you can give big additional value, you try to do that service and do that work But the problem is that's a gamble. And as much as the casino is fun, I don't really like gambling with my business unless I have some stake and some proof that that gamble is worth it, right? Educated gambling is more my take. It's my grandpa's model. He'll sit the slot machine for 10 hours, right? On the same slot machine, and he wins a lot. So it's not really gambling as much for him. Different presentation. I'll give that pitch another time. But really, we're putting in this extra value and we're not resulting in ongoing revenue. So in the hunt for the answers, we found that Super, yes, it did those two things. But really, we slowly over time realized, and it became our central information hub. It became our project management tool. It became, essentially everything we needed and more to run our projects efficiently, remove the lack of adoption, and overall get our team members where they needed to be. And most importantly, it actually added so much additional value for our clients outside of our services that it became a no-brainer. And so that's what I'm going to really share with you today. Okay. I see you still have a couple people coming in. There'll be a recording of this. There'll be some other stuff there. So no need to, worry too much, but I am going to kind of frame it a little bit at the beginning and then really dive into the model. So stick with me. I think it's important that you understand where it's coming from, what you'll walk away with before I show you the model. So just bear with me. I'm going to go quickly. But what you're going to walk away with at the end of this time, my goal is that we're going to send a link at the end, and you're going to have a checklist of everything I'm going to show you, but you're also going to have the knowledge and the understanding of the exact model and formula that we used to leverage Supered as our full client delivery hub and take it beyond the repeatable copy paste solution for development or streamlining trainings. But we're going to show you how to make those better too. Okay. You're going to see exactly how we use it day in, day out for our teams and with clients, and how you can leverage it and set your teams up for success and set it up quickly and efficiently and remove the pain. Here's something about Supered that I love and hate. Matt built something that is hugely expansive. And if you're a developer, that is a ton of fun. It also can cause information spread. It can also cause, with no process or organization or path or model, a lot of guesswork to figure out what works for you. So I want to show you how to remove that, right? And I also want to help you solve for the biggest and help you understand how to solve for the biggest internal client management gaps that you may be having. Bring information centralization and clarity down the board to your company and your processes without adding extra steps for your staff. I want to show you how you can eliminate project chaos with Supered, erase the kind of common tech stack garbage, and I say garbage, but maybe spread is the better word. I want to show you how you can use all this to decrease your time to adoption for HubSpot, remove unnecessary or redundant trainings or meetings internally and with clients, avoid the information overload where your people don't adopt because you simply give them too much. And I'm going to make sure you walk away, like I said, understanding how to bake this into your process. So to summarize that, it'll all be in a link at the end as well, with a checklist, with everything you need, with the recording here. But I'm going to walk you through the model, and then I'm going to show you the checklist of what you need to do. Okay. At the end, I'm going to give you kind of an easy button. Matt, I don't know if you want to say anything, but we talked a lot about how this is bigger. It's a bigger problem. It's a bigger undertaking to get something here. It took us a really long time and a lot of pain and suffering and heartache, right? I think is the best way to say it, and good heartache. But we want to also give something that's a little bit easier, and that's kind of what we talked about to get us here.
I think we're moving so fast, and the value that Supered creates, it's a digest problem. And so what you bought 6 months ago is simply a different product as well. And so it takes a specialization because we're moving so fast. And if I had feedback from partners like, hey, y'all do a lot and it's hard to keep up, and it takes and there's a reality of yes. So what today will be here's how you can catch up really quick and think about it from a place. So period.
Yeah. And that's a great lead into the problem, right? And Matt, you called out a problem that isn't here, but let's just frame this as an agency. If you use HubSpot and you talk to clients, some of the biggest feedback I get is people can't keep up. There's so much changing. Last year was insane. We did every beta that came out. True story. And it was a nightmare. It was a ton of fun, but it was a nightmare. And Supered was also making a lot of changes, things like action plans, things like that were rolling out and getting better. And we were catching up, understanding, and trying to deploy. It's the same as HubSpot as it is with Supered. So really, that's where I want to start is that you probably have built a great team. You probably have a good process. You probably are not here because you're not making money. If you're investing into Supered, you have done decently well to get to a point where you want to go to the next level, right? But you probably did hire really smart, capable people, and you probably have been investing in their strengths, but actually building, refining, and streamlining your systems and processes, that's where it's already a hard enough job, right? Just doing and keeping up with HubSpot, managing that side. So going the step deeper is hard. And you may find yourself saying we need to streamline delivery or centralize trainings, but who's going to actually do it, right? That's the question. That's the problem. And so you probably got Supered for similar reasons that I did, right? Deploy assets, centralize enablement, and maybe it was to deliver a better client experience. But the next problem came in shortly after, which is, first and foremost, how do you develop it and have the time to build it out fully? And even if you have all the trainings in Looms or wherever it might be, you still have to compile it, organize it, put it to action plans, and then deploy and test that. And really, clients don't often adopt it easily and natively when tied in with a service. They're already probably a little overwhelmed by what you're trying to do with them, even though you're trying to solve their problems, because a lot goes into service work. And it's a complicated development project or task in general. And most of the people we're working with maybe are not technical and maybe don't fully understand the full scope of what they're doing. So adopting a tool is challenging. You maybe didn't know how to position it. And that's a whole second conversation. But even if so, your team probably knew how to use it, but only in the areas that were really important to how you plan to deploy it originally. Synchronizing assets, deploying assets, maybe logging your trainings in a more central place, but really using it, they probably didn't know how. And even if they did, explaining it to the client clearly is a team effort and understanding and alignment factor. So really beyond that, the reality is Super does have a lot more under the hood, but without clear structures, I don't feel like most agencies will unlock it in a reasonable time frame while trying to deploy and do what they do best and provide the services that their clients really want. So I imagine that's why you're here. If not, no worries, you can go ahead and go. No, just kidding, please stay, because I think you'll find at least one thing of value here. But your team is probably feeling buried under delivery chaos. Your margins are maybe fragile or shrinking. It's high risk a lot of times with service work unless you're really processized out. I don't know if that's a word. We're going to check that at the end. Unless you have some really clear processes that you can follow and deploy, it's still that you're synchronizing around that and it could still be better, right? But your clients also need fast onboarding. They need fast time to adoption and value. They need clear outcomes. They need real support, and they want it now. And if we're being honest, they don't always want to pay the same as they would for an app development. And even though it's just as complex and it's a larger system, obviously we're taking under and we're helping them on a larger task. That's the real problems. And that's what drove me here, why I care really. I live that chaos, you can ask my team, I'm relentless about quality, and I push my team and myself to deliver above and beyond where we could to try to drive value that often didn't lead to MRR. Instead, we kind of ran ourselves into the ground. We were over delivering or often re-explaining, because what I refuse to do is deliver a system that they don't understand because we're just done and we did the 3 trainings that were included. And I don't like the arguments of, well, I don't want to, add more because it was this, our team doesn't understand, whatever that might be. I will go that extra mile. And that's what made us, that was our area, but it never proved out worth it. And it just left clients confused. Our projects were messy. And even with a great team, and we do have a great team, and we did have a great team, alignment was hard. And it led to a lot of internal meetings, a lot of alignment internally and externally. And we'd lose time chasing down assets, syncing across time zones, trying to manage our communications and the meetings and work that's happening offline. And that's kind of when I knew something had to change. So we rebuilt the agency over time around Supered. And at first it was just to speed up delivery and simplify training. I've beat that into the dirt. But as it became more, we realized that it was a system to not only recover, our profitability, but to also give clients a better system, a better service, give them extra value that I didn't really see happening, give me my time back, give my team focus and clarity, and frankly, give me some peace of mind, because running an agency is stressful. It's really stressful, especially if you have family, kids, responsibilities. It's really hard, especially a HubSpot agency. And I don't want other agency owners to white knuckle their way through this. So I want to share that better way. And the truth of it in short is, and this is hard to hear. Someone told me this a year and a half ago. I was like, man, that hurts. We're telling clients to centralize and streamline and simplify their workflows to scale and grow, while ours are scattered and have a lot of manual work. That's it, right? Customization was like killing our margins. Internal knowledge was siloed. Too many communication channels and trying to adopt to the client. No single system of record to hand things off after without meetings. Clients weren't adopting what we sent. Teams weren't really using what we built. Everyone was overwhelmed, right? And worst of it all, we kept doing more work and squeezing in tighter timelines, hoping the extra value would lead to retention. It didn't. And so let's just talk about what that looks like before. This map is kind of a simple view of a much messier system. I do want you to know my team and I went back and forth on this for a really long time of how do we show this? And our original map was a spaghetti bowl nightmare, right? So I tried to give you the simple because I still want it to make sense, which is you're probably using a mapping software, maybe Mural, but they're siloed, they're hard to find, and they're not centralized. They're not easily shareable with the client either, right? Without downloading and sending or giving something like that. We all love a good Mural, Figma, insert your preferred mapping tool here. But they're really a crux because at the same time, you're sharing it on a call, you're downloading it, you're giving them a snapshot. You want to be more interactive with it, be able to give it to team members, keep it updated, things like that, and have it centralized for your teams. Because again, giving links, answering questions all the time, where is this? Oh, well, what update did you make to this? Is really hard. And especially when you're working and cruising and trying to keep everyone up to date. And our communication was fractured. Internally, we're using Slack, right? We're having Zooms, but also clients are mostly email, maybe SMS, maybe WhatsApp. If you're working with out of the US, we serve a lot of Canada, and phone calls, one-off calls between team members, but every client was using something different, maybe Teams. We would try to adapt and adopt to their method, but it was at the cost of consistency and information spread. It was always leading to someone hunting for information or assets or requiring a catch-up meeting that just killed my time and my leaders' times. So project management is a whole beast and why we are really here, right? But it's at the end of the day, and this was in my original map, and I'm just going to say it, we cycled through Asana, Monday, ClickUp, HubSpot, back to ClickUp, because we just kept trying the next thing. Maybe this will do it, right? But nothing stuck, and no one ever used them consistently. And when I say it didn't stick, we used it by force, but that's not the way to do it. And it added redundancy. That was the problem. It added redundancy to the process and took team members out of their daily workflows to manage it. So you can kind of see that here, communication going down. And yeah, it went to the CRM, but our CRM didn't really connect over here. Manual work was having to happen to push our meetings into some sort of shared place or knowledge base. Trainings, of course, we were trying to deliver them via docs or spreadsheets or something to checklist out and give them a path, because you can't just deliver a huge system and a process and say, go, right? You have to give them a path and ease them into it, especially if they're not technical or you're training a large team. And we would have someone put that into those lists and monitor those lists, right? And really, our client visibility was broken. And that's where internally we may have had a project management tool that, again, you had to go take your recording, your notes, build it, maintain it, go to this other platform. Huge pain. But then we tried to get clients to, tell us how they wanted to manage the project together, but they don't know. They're like, oh, well, we'll use your tool. Oh, we use this. We either adopt theirs or, something to get, because they want visibility, especially larger clients. They want to see the deliverables. They want to know what is on them. They want a place to send you stuff. They want a place to see everything you're doing. But they never used our tools, even if they wanted to be added to Monday. We had half of them never log in and the other half just ignore it, even if we reviewed it on meetings. So we tried using spreadsheets. We tried using other things to try to give it clear. But again, it's just another step of someone having to manage 2 projects, 2 places now, plus everything else we're seeing here. And to keep that organized across all of it, nearly impossible, right? Assets lived everywhere. They were in emails that never made it to, file folders in Google Drive or the project management tool. They're in Fathoms or recording somewhere deep down in the dust. They're in checklists or docs that you forget because, again, if I hear where's the link one more time from my team, I was like about to lose my mind, right? And training was chaos. I've established that, right? It took a ton of our time and extended project timelines because we may have recorded looms to make it standardized, but delivering them in documents with checklists was not a good solution either. So we ended up delivering a lot of one-on-one training over and over and over again for each client. And guess what? When they hired someone new, they weren't calling us back to train them. They were trying to do it. And slowly what we built or cleaned or fixed dissipates and disappears, which isn't the goal of what I'm trying to do here. I didn't get into working in service in HubSpot because I want to deliver something quickly that they don't use, right? I think it can do more. And there was no adoption, no tracking. That's a big one. We can't hold accountability. So it falls to us and we end up going further. And that's when I kind of realized, we're telling clients to centralize while we're duct taping. And so that's kind of when we restructured how we thought about this. And I know it doesn't look all that different because you still need Mural, they still communicate, you still have meetings, you still need to communicate internally, and you still need trainings, right? But once we stopped duct taping and realized that Super could be central, it looked more like this, And what it looks like is all those scattered tools, they're now kind of routed through two core systems, if you will, HubSpot and Super, kind of the two linchpins that also interconnect really well and easily. Like Mural, still using it, but it's embedded into Supered. And we're using comments connected into Slack to have discussions or call things out to the client, whatever it might be. And they can actually engage and interact with that Mural. We can embed it to places or into cards or into action plans, right? I can get approvals, things like that. But Zoom, we're using it for every call. And we record in Fathom. But it automatically logs both of those tools and their recordings into the HubSpot company record. Personally, we also have a Zap that will take it and put it to a doc, and we use ChatGPT, so it kind of is a little bit easier there for recordings, but that's another story. At least having it HubSpot on the record is 10 times better for having two places to point people internally. And communication and assets all streamlines into a central interface. So whether it's internal or external communication, meetings, they're all going to HubSpot. Just, that's where we're able to tell the team to go. You need updates, go here. And really customizing our views within HubSpot with the Breeze update took a huge load off that too. Projects, this is the big one, right? They're managed start to finish in Supered action plans. Our Loom recordings are delivered through standardized trainings that we have processed and optimized to drive forward. And most importantly, our client communication doesn't have guesswork for assets, information sharing, or information spread. My team is expected to drive everything, every piece of work they do, every information they receive, every asset we get, everything from HubSpot to Supered, right? Or if the client's working with us, they can put it there too if they adopt it. And then we're taking our notes in there. And then we're really keeping it organized. And the whole thought is we have this roll-up model that I'll explain in just a moment. But every internal meeting, every external deliverable, every onboarding, approval, request, it all lives in one place now. And if it's not there, you can find all the details and information in HubSpot. You can email from there, call from there, do everything that we all know HubSpot can do. And Matt has mentioned, the integration to Slack also made this easier, and comments made this easier, right? So you can see I have a kind of two-way communication path where our HubSpot's integrated for notifications, vice versa. So very much more streamlined, and having everyone need to go to two places and actually have everything they need. So this really...
Can I say one thing, Caleb?
Please.
I just want to say out loud, this will only get better, not worse. So like when we think about our build path, like this only gets easier.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
Well, and it's over time, right? This is a year and a half in, and it looks the same, but it's really not. And what I want to stack on top of it for you to understand clearly is clients don't feel like we're ever selling them Supered, right? Because we're not. We're just giving them the experience of the results. And that goes across everything I listed for major things that we were running into. We look better. We feel better. We are more organized. We're clearer. We have everything in one place. We can onboard faster internally and externally. And so let's get into the meat of it. What changed? Well, to show you exactly what changed, I want to start a little bit more simple, and that we really view this in three buckets. And what we needed was a good foundation. And what that looked like was, one, needing to centralize all client information, assets, future work opportunities, right? And we do those in account overview action plans, okay? And this is, if you think about top down, this is the top. And yes, it's one more place. We tried to do it in HubSpot, but even with Breeze, notes, properties, none of that is an efficient way to log the complexities of managing an account, right? And the next thing is, how do we manage the projects? So that's where we created project action plan templates, starting with one big one that was really structured. And as we went forward, we will deploy the action plan, clone it to a template for more specific use cases like a HubSpot onboarding, Apollo deployment, things we do more standard operation procedure wise. And what it does is it's client facing or internal. It just depends, but we're always sharing this with the client. Everything from it though gets rolled up. So if you think about the account overview action plan as one that never expires, it should almost never really have dates on any of the stuff. It's information. And we start it the second a new client comes in every time, right? And then we start the projects for anything that's deliverable centered, maybe SOW centered in your world, things that have milestones and risks and things that are going to have a lot of details or sub tasks. And this keeps things organized. And it allows us at the end of the project to float up optimizations, changes to the system, how it structures, notes on the account, up to the account overview. Okay. And we're assigning it and setting it with stakeholders and roles so people can quickly adopt into it. The whole concept here is that if I bring on a new contractor or a new whatever to help with a project, I can assign them the account overview action plan. And within an hour or 2 hours, they actually can be completely loaded into the account with everything they need, including links to the HubSpot record to review communications, links to the portal, links to, it goes on for days, right? But then the third piece of the pie and puzzle is the training and onboarding. And that's where we have user action plans. So we have templates that we use at the top level that are set up generally with links that, hey, change me to this or whatever it might be. And they're really thought out and flown. And I'll go through the flow of how we do this, but they're what we deploy to train in a more processed system. And it really, really has made a huge difference. We use it for stakeholders, end users. It's an automatic onboarding, and it's going to increase your time or decrease your time to adoption, totally changing the game for us. Like, it leads it to where there is a no excuse environment, and we phase things out over time, but it's still a tighter timeline.
Yeah, there's a question here. I think we talk about, are you going to see how these look? The question is, hey, I use Asana. How is this any different?
Yep. So let's go through the overview here. And then what I'm happy to do is in the Q&A time, which I'll leave at the end, and we have this elsewhere as well, right? So we can send this over. Our action plans are structured into a way that is, yes, we have pictures of them. We have ways we can show it, right? But the way it's different is primarily focused in how you organize in this model first. And that's what I'm trying to get maybe you guys to hear the most, is to understand how to design it and how to set it up as a project management tool. It's actually not complicated, but you will accidentally make it complicated if you don't understand the model. So yes, we can send out screenshots. It's in the solutions directory as to how this kind of structures and looks, but the nuances of how to manage it is where you'll break down. And so that's what I want you to hear over that. Does that make sense, Matt?
Yeah. I think we'll go through this and new Q&A will get more specific.
Yeah, because I have a mural board that I can pull up that has screenshots of this, but I want to just make sure that I get through that when I give it to you, it makes sense what you're looking at, right?
Yeah.
So to hit this in a little bit more detail, let's start with the account overview action plan. And this is where I am going to explain how it structures functionally, right? And we can get into more nitty-gritty details at the end of questions, but this is internal. It's your source of truth. It's where everything rolls up. It's at the top of this right here. And it's literally, if a new team member onboards mid, project, getting a project, assign this, they're up to speed. That's the thought. And think about it like this: everything lives here from day one, and everything rolls up to this in relation to the client. That's stakeholder information, overviews of who they are, what they do, how they serve, portal links to our account information, people, notes on those people. It's also going to include links to, our company record and in their portal. It has an overview of their unique portal setup in HubSpot. So literally someone could come in and understand everything they need to know about every hub, how they use it, how it's set up, key workflows, anything like that, maps. We also have key assets linked up there, shared drives, shared logins, whatever that might be. We use it as well to log our meetings. So we actually have a model where everything meeting centered. If someone says we may need this meeting, it gets created to a task and an agenda gets put on it. And the team knows that everything for that meeting, if they're working on something, they should go add it to that. So that way the project manager or lead can actually go in and efficiently manage the meeting without the catch up. We also will take our Zoom links and put it on there and replace it with our Fathom recordings or notes or whatever it might be and assign the tasks, right? But that is whenever you don't have a project action plan. We are also logging our project history here. What does that mean? We have a phase of the, total action plan that is project history, and it links in tasks with 2 sections, one for, active projects and historical, where we're linking to the old action plans for the project. So you could go deeper and see everything that happened and all the tasks that happened within that. So the structure of that is it's the roll-up board, where once you complete the project plan, even if it's gone and completed with all tasks, everything rolled up, and then somebody could still go in and get all the details and open it up. Especially, thank you, Matt, for launching the check. You don't have to show completed tasks. That's huge. That made that way easier. And so that is a huge factor of this. The project plan, though, the base template structure of it is designed to be shared with clients. Okay. Comments have made this easier to have internal conversations on it, but we try to keep it very high level. We try to keep it very much centered around the first phase being an overview of the milestones in the project, delivery dates, on track, off track, check marks, followed by risks. We're logging risks there very clearly and being able to assign them. And then the third section would be the shared assets as well, where we're linking our murals and embedding our murals. We have a meeting tab in this one as well. And that's because, again, we don't want people having to jump a lot, but for that project, you're going to have a lot of meetings specific to it. And so instead of logging all those at the overview, just put them there. And it makes it to where when someone's working on a project, right, and your team's working on it, again, they can roll the information up to the meeting agenda, right, as they're working through or making comments and tagging people internally or externally. We do have a task section as well, and that's where we're going to go deeper beyond just the deliverables and milestones of that project.
May I make a point?
Yep.
As I'm sitting and receiving it, what you're hearing Caleb say is it can replace a project management and turn it into a delivery client management system. Time hacks. I don't know the number of slides, but we have 7 minutes until Q&A, and I assume there's going to be a lot of Q&A.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, what I'm showing you here is that you invite key stakeholders here. We're going to move to the client onboarding and training. The way these are structured is you should flow them out. You introduce them to Supered because before you've even gotten in, you have stakeholders in. You're at least sharing it in the meeting, right? That project collaboration. You're going through project tasks. They see it. And we bake it in pre-process, which I'm going to go through, but new user setup is what we give. So we have an action plan to set up new user HubSpot accounts. We have a welcome to HubSpot. That's going to give them the basics of HubSpot. What is an object? What is a contact company deal lead? What are notes? What are activities? How do reports work? How do you navigate? Then we have hub specific trainings. This is going into how to use that hub in detail, best practices, tips and tricks, the whole 9. And we're assigning these as they complete them in groups. And the final one is a templated structure for a journey, going through the life cycle stages, the lead stages, the different steps of their process with videos, overviews, links to records on all of this. And that's the big key is we're linking to everything in the action plan when we train them. Not just trainings, but actually to their portal. And so when they go through this flow, by the end of it, we're doing a Q&A at the end. And we won't do it until we've gone through these, right? And what the end result of that is, it drives better questions. It drives better adoption. They've walked into it. And post-delivery, we're creating retention paths, right? And that's what I really want to hit on quickly here is the positioning of Supered, and you have to bake it in. The project management tool is a piece of it, but to get it to actually deliver value to the client and you, as far as getting higher retention, having better margins, you have to bake it in start to finish with your process. And so if you think about it like everything I've showed you is the answer, this is what you need to tie it together and position it from top to bottom. So pre-project, I'm pitching it as we have a service that we're providing you, but to help you do, and we have a few big bullets, it's enforce the processes ongoing, train your team faster, ensure adoption. We have a real-time in training software that all they'll have to do is stay signed into the Sidekick and go, right? We've baked it into our MSAs. We've baked it into a path that drives them forward with a room that tells them that they can keep the information, we call it the agency managed information that we give them, or they can just keep their client-specific information. But here's the kicker is that we don't actually have to sell Supered with this model because we start before and it sells itself. They're eased into it. Leadership sees the value and standardizes the processes, and they buy in because of what it can do for their training at the end. And if you can do that from top to bottom and not just make it this project management tool, but drive it deeper, you're going to win more deals because you have this additional value. You're going to keep clients longer because you stay in their sphere by them wanting to keep up to date with the information. Matt said it at the beginning. Even Supered's updating so much, it's hard to keep up with. HubSpot's no different. They want the practical application, right? You're going to see your margins increase just for everything we've covered. You're going to see internal frustration decrease, and that's going to lead to the client seeing value beyond your services and seeing a more streamlined, clear understanding of what we're doing.
I want to make one point as we're sitting here for a second, just driving in. The number one problem I see Supered partners doing is they don't, they think of Supered as a post delivery for training, and that's a piss poor way to use Supered. I'm just saying out loud.
It's got to start
very
before.
difficult. You might it is bake it in, and it should help you win service deals into your sales process. It should help you win and retain at the end.
Yeah. No, you have to have the client understand what's going on. And that's where you bake it into the process. You have to understand what they're getting into. It can't feel conjointed, just like your project delivery can't. We talked about how it solves that piece. That was the last slide, though, is how you tie it together, because there's no more over explaining in meetings, no more guesswork of who owns what internally. Pre-project, they understand how you're going to deliver this and what it does for them and the clear value in a very succinct way. You're assigning plans to make it very easy on how to use it and keeping the explanation simple. For internal, you have everything rolling up to one. The account overview plan, you have that system of record. You're managing projects clear. You have real enablement and not just trainings that's trackable. And you can point and call out where it's being held up. And you're not duplicating the work. If we think about that map earlier, all those little manual people, this erases that. And then if you bake it into that process, it keeps the client longer, because even if they don't want to go reoccurring, about 90% of our people, when we give them that room, they ask to go agency managed before the project's even done. And it may not be, it keeps us in the sphere. We can push pop-ups to them. We have a log of what they had issue-wise, and we can continue to stay and talk with them as new things roll out in HubSpot. And they can onboard easier. There's a lot of values we could talk about, but just really quickly, this isn't just a theory. We've done it with a lot of clients, but one of which was skill work, and they had every reason to doubt because we had a tight timeline, a month and a half for an incredibly complex portal migration. COO told us straight up, we've been burnt before. We don't think you can hit this. But we didn't just hit it. Following this model, we finished 2 weeks early. They understood fully how Supered fit in. They understood the value, right? They understood everything about it. They had access to every agenda. We used it on every weekly update and meeting. They had clear insight to the milestones that lived in Supered. They even were using it as the client in the action plan, being assigned tasks.
I'd say another thing, skill work, they actually, they bought Supered themselves. And this is what I mean. And there's a recurring revenue there's a huge opportunity for doing good work equals you get forever referral money. Anyway, just the point.
100%. And the result was Tim, the COO, who was the biggest skeptic and was worried about risks and milestones being tracked, he said it was the best run project they've ever had with a consultant. And they've worked with a lot of HubSpot consultants and others. And guess what? Like Matt said, they immediately signed up for ongoing services and agency managed information so they could standardize their onboardings going forward, keeping all of our stuff in it and letting us continue to update them on the best practices. They did go ongoing services, which we do serve through Supered and HubSpot, but that's why it works. It's not just a system. It's actually how we deliver. Now, this is the checklist, and I'm going to send it to you at the end. We only have a limited amount of time here, and I want to get to wrap up here. It's linked to, but these are the steps, and I have a direct checklist that'll be in the link they'll send at the end that you can follow and click through exactly how to get through this with images and examples and all the things, right? And the truth is, this is a lot. I'm not even going to lie to you guys. It's a lot to get to here, right? I could go through the 7 steps, but what I've given you is the structure. There was a question earlier of how do I apply it, right? How does it look structurally? That checklist will help you, but you have to refine it yourself, right? And that's the last 2 bullets here. You have to build and standardize the internal processes, and you have to optimize, implement, and get feedback. You have to repeat it over and over to get the best result. And you're going to do this wrong. You're probably going to do it more than once. It's going to cost you time. We lost clients that could have gone agency manager ongoing because we didn't deliver it well. That's why I'm giving you in this time the more high level, because you'll have the path to go apply it with these 7 steps. It's exactly what you need to do. But there's a cost to doing that, right? Your investment into Supered, your team's time, building it, developing it. I could give you the template, but without the understanding of why you're doing it and why you're going to push it downward to your team, it just doesn't make sense. And so I do want to give you an easier button. All 7 of these steps are covered in what we're calling the Supered Accelerator solution. You're going to have a pre-built Supered homepage. You're going to have standard updates and pop-ups for things like welcome to Supered with trainings. You're going to have phase transitions or status updates, welcome modules for updates. We're going to give you our entire and completed HubSpot knowledge base. It's every training you need and embedded to action plans and beyond it for role-based, curated, hub-specific trainings that are not just copy-paste out of HubSpot, library or GPT. It's videos, it's library of everything you need, and the action plans to tie it. We're actually going to give you the account overview action plan that we use day in and day out. We're going to give you the project plan template that you can then clone and take further if you want into other ones, but we're going to give you that. We're going to give you all of the end user action plans that I listed earlier, from the new account setup, welcome to HubSpot, sales, marketing, service hub, and the account journey overview. And we're going to give you an internal super training base and action plan that we actually use to train our team. And we've deployed, tested, and optimized on how to actually, when do I clone? What do I assign to who? Where do log risks? What to track? Where? How to roll it up? Creating, rhythms for refining and repeating this. And, actually, how do you deploy it? How do you manage accounts? How do you manage the action plan? How do you scale it to client success? How do you tie it all together, right? We're going to show you all of that and take a year and a half of what we've struggled to do, because I could give you the template, but it's going to spread quickly. That's why we have that there to help guide you further. We've already kind of done the suffering. I just don't want you to have to at the end of the day. Instead of spending 6 to 12 months, I'd like you just to be able to jump in. And normally, I think we're going to price this around $1,000, but just, while we're here and what we're doing at this, I want you guys to be able to get going. Matt wants you guys to be able to get going. So for the next 2 weeks, we're going to give 25% off of that at $749. And I'm going to throw in 2 other things that I think bridge the gap here, which is number one, an hour and a half of live training. Normally, we're kind of doing this on the side ad hoc, where we can come in and help adjust your processes, align these to your sales processes, but they're really ready to go and get started. If you want to customize templates, though, we're there to help talk through it and strategize. And then the last one is the full guide and action plan for positioning and building retention with Supered. So that is, to me, the biggest value in this, because the thing you're hearing is it's a lot, but we're giving you the jumping point to get 90% of the way there. You understand the model. We're going to train your team on how to do the nuances that you just have to learn through pain of deploying and how to pivot and not get spread. And then the training on how to actually stack it in your sales process, highline, from pre-sale to post-sale to driving retention and revenue. We're going to throw all that in at $749. And so it expires June 26th. We can call it a half, what would that be? Half Christmas special, a surge special, whatever you want to call it. I think half Christmas is the 25th. But guys, if you leave with nothing, you don't need another tech stack. You don't need another tool. You need a service operating system that works. You need to use it on every project. You need to centralize it to how you function and roll. You need to have it simple, clear, and easy to use for your team and the client. So let's stop duct taping stuff. Let's start doing this together. Whether you want advice or whatever you might want, there's a link to a card with all these details, a demo, an overview, the checklist. And before the 26th, what you need to do is just lock in and make your payment of $749. But if you want to meet, I have my meeting link there, and we can get to talking before that time. You can always DM me, add me on LinkedIn. I'm happy to chat through this. I want to be an ally to you guys, because this isn't about the money side or giving you some offer. This is like a real thing for me, and I just want to be an enabler of partners at this point.
Caleb, love it. We are, thank you for going through all through that. I get asked often, and now, can I standardize and be a Supered implementation person? The answer is yes. And so I got a few questions as we're going to this Q&A. I've been doing it. I'm going to put number one. I'm going to try to do this thing. Here we go.
Yep.
I wrote this. How do you track hours with Supered?
Yep. So we actually use HubSpot personally, and we do it on the deal, but the other option would be to do it on the project. There's other softwares you can add that make it a bit easier if you're using consultants, that are time trackers that embed. So there's a couple ways you can dice it, but what we do is we have a section either on the account overview in that section I mentioned that's going to discuss projects, or we do it within HubSpot on the deal. I prefer to do it on the deal because it's much more private, and you can do calculation properties for margins and things like that.
Okay. I'm just going to keep asking questions and doing this. I can't know these questions. You said you could use HubSpot. Are you giving away the your HubSpot build as part of the offer, or is that separate?
So it's going to be separate. The model that we'll go through, that additional bonus action plan, it covers a lot of how you structure. And in parts of that, we do discuss how we leverage HubSpot templates, how we leverage HubSpot in record customization views to centralize. And we talk a little bit about how we have brought in properties and structures that help bring in stuff like invite links or how to invite users properly, when to do that. But we have automated it all and set it all up. At another point, we're going to be launching next the ability to buy all that and just get it deployed to your HubSpot portal as is and support that. But it'll be in the training, but it's a guide on how to do it.
Okay, can you show me the pictures of the AP structures that you talked about earlier?
Yeah, I can, of course. Let me pull up a mural here in classic Caleb fashion. Let me share my screen here. Probably shouldn't have stopped. One moment. And can you all see my screen?
No.
No?
Yeah, we're about to. I can now.
Okay, cool. Thank you. So if we think about this, we have, I'm zooming in. A client overview right here. And obviously the hard part is it goes down and I can't pull a full screenshot of all of it. So we'll be doing videos of a lot of this in the training guides, but and you're going to be getting them, right? But this is how it's set up at the top. We do have a couple extra tabs. We tend to add more stuff and delete, right? But we try to keep it simple. That's just something that I'm going to give you a pro tip on. Don't overbuild the steps, because what will happen is when you launch it, if you don't either delete all those steps, you're going to end up adding more because projects changed. And so you're setting up the base of them. So here's our overview. We do descriptions and what it's for each one. All these links, like to the person, is going to the contact record in HubSpot. We have templates of who the company is, structures, communication methods. Meetings are logged here if we're not on a project or they're general. Our HubSpot overview is something that I can cover separately on maybe I'll do some live sessions on LinkedIn if it's desired to kind of cover this in more detail. I will be shooting videos of parts of this and launching it. So follow me on LinkedIn. I'll be posting more. Shared project template here. We have our overview project tracker. We have a section below these that are our risks that get logged. Again, the team's expectation is roll up. If you think about it like this, everything kind of right to left, we're doing work in the project tasks. Any notes roll into meetings. Any things like that should go to the overview. Where are we at with the total project? Was there a risk? At the end of the project, all that goes up into our log here for issues optimizations. That's a huge one. Logging your issues and optimizations. That is how you retain the client. It's not just giving Supered as a tool, as an extra value. That's a part of it. We never miss a note. If something is mentioned on a meeting or we have an idea of what we could do better, we log it. Because that is how we go back and continue to serve them well with what gives the biggest value.
Yeah, I'm assuming that's part of the retainer. It looks like this is pretty. If you see action plans, this is helpful to like think about them and see them. I have another question because thank you for sharing this.
Just so they can see it, I'll scroll through as you keep going.
Just all of them. Here's as you said, hey, that's great. I like how you have all those things set up, but I do mostly custom projects and I fix HubSpots. It's super useful for that.
If I'm being really, really honest with you guys, yes. And like, I cannot say that enough. I cannot scream it to the rooftops enough. We were that. I'm going to be honest with you guys. Like, we were a HubSpot partner for a long time, and I stopped being a HubSpot partner. I canceled it because all of our work, and this was before they made the changes, but all of our work was fixing accounts that were wrong and custom. Yes, it works. Like, it works. And what you do is every time you build, you standardize HubSpot assets that you could deploy later. And you take it to a base, right? You copy it and you put it into a portal and get it at a more base structure. If every time you bring in something that saves you 10% of what you just did the next time, we did that for a year and a half. And over time, we actually went from being more custom to delivering better products, better deliverables and services by best practices. So as you learn best practices, you standardize, and that goes for anything.
I'm going to say, like I like to say with this, you must standardize so that you can customize, and you win people through the customization. And Supered lets you do that where people actually are and actually logged in. Okay. I just been writing all the questions I have. If any
Yeah.
other people have, I see them, they go through. I'll wait for a second.
Yeah. And, I mean, my quote that I say to everyone is standardize to optimize. And I say it to clients all the time. And standardizing can look like a baby step at first. Just because you're custom does not mean that you can't standardize. You could standardize your trainings. Here's the deal is we have a lot of like when we deploy the
Caleb, I
HubSpot
agree.
knowledge. Yeah, go
I
ahead.
agree with what you're saying. I have another question.
Please.
A lot of what you're talking about would be all in the stuff. So I'm going to try to say something that's not. How do you get people to download the extension?
Oh, that's the easiest one.
By the way, I think that's very easy, but you would be surprised how many people coming at me this. So how do you but there's so much friction and then something new, you got to make them down. Talk to me. How do you make it happen?
In our HubSpot portal, we have a template. Whenever one of our steps in the project is to invite people, and that could be at the stakeholder step if they want to use Supered. If not, we're sharing it, right? We still have to invite them. There's a point where we do end user training. And what we have is a template. And what it's going to do is say, hey, we're going to set a meeting for 30 minutes to do an onboarding. But that's not even an onboarding. What we're doing is in that, it delivers the invite link as a user. Okay. And we have a card that's tied to that gives them a checklist of steps. Okay. And it's going to say log in using your HubSpot, go to here, and it says pin the extension, right? The only reason that I have the meeting is to make sure they pin their extension, because the second they log in, they get an update pop-up that has a 2-minute video that it tells them this. And if you walk away hearing nothing, this is how you explain it. If you do nothing with Supered, and this is how I say it to the client, keep yourself logged into the Sidekick, because it's going to allow you to see triggered trainings. I can tell you before I said, we're in tons of accounts. We're constantly staying up on this. We know navigation changes 2 weeks before you do, and we have a video and training on it. We will tell your team preemptively, and I can tell you if they complete it or not. And process rules, right? That's the leadership pitch. But for the end user, we just simply tell them the same. Stay logged into the Sidekick because it's a searchable repository. We will assign you your trainings because we customize that homepage view so it pops right at the top. More importantly, though, guys, stay logged in because you want to get the helpful triggers. You want to do a good job and you want to stay up to date, but you don't want to hunt for it. And normally the end users adopt slower, and they tend to adopt after they go through the training. And when you have leadership bought in, but you keep it simple.
Yep.
And
as they say, hey, what you need an organization to say is, hey, did you check the Sidekick? And if it's like, hey, and if the answer is no, don't talk to me.
Well, and that's why we have the meeting.
Leadership able to say that, hey, did you check the Sidekick? And if you get people to say that's a yes, no question. And that's what I mean. It has to be done from the very beginning all the way to the end.
And it changed our positional roles, right? My client success managers and project managers, whatever you want to call them, a lot of their core job now at a certain point is we have that onboarding meeting. We make sure everyone's logged into the Sidekick. They have tasks, and I go through some more trainings, but it's like where they check in on the analytics. Are they logged in to the Sidekick? Yes or no? When's the last time they logged in? Where are they in their action plan? And they will be the ones to reach out to the client if they're behind schedule. And that puts the weight off my back in the explanation and argument of whose fault it is, which we don't ever argue. We just take it because it's client first, but like it eliminates that.
Well, Caleb, thank you so much for this time. I will say is when we dreamed up Super and we said, hey, we're going to go partner first. So we go to the end user. This is starting to materialize and manifest the full dream. And our intention is to make this easier, not harder. And we're going to continue to build towards making this true. And there'll be a day and age where you may lose clients to people with Super. That's my intention, right? Because it's just a better experience for those to do because you're more intimate and connected with those customers. Caleb, is there anything else you'd like to leave with? How can they find you?
Yeah. Follow me on LinkedIn, guys. I constantly am posting updates, whether on HubSpot, but also I'm going to be posting a lot more on what we're discussing here around Supered. Check out that card that's in the link here. Check the recording, watch it through, go back through it. We'll be putting it in the card too. But reach out to me, DM me. AmplifyOps.io, you have our meeting link. I'm not a big website guy. I try to keep it relational because I'm here to serve partners and I'm here to serve clients who want to work with us and want to work well. And like Matt said, we're taking clients from people from referral because of how we deliver. And I want to do the same with agencies. So reach out to us, and I'm happy to just to chat and talk. If you guys need guidance and next steps, Supered can change a lot for you, and I want to help you do that.
Thank you, Caleb. You'll see at RSVP, we have the next surge is about sales processes and sales frameworks for partners. And we will talk about a bit about how to get Supered into SOW stuff. But thank you, everybody. Appreciate y'all. Stay awesome. Keep doing it big. Until next time, adios.
See you guys. Bye-bye.